Hello. I think we're live. Hi there. This is Callie. Welcome to Unboxing and Review. This is a new segment. Oh, you're live. There we go. Now we're live. Hi. This is Callie, and this is a new video that I'm doing. It is an unboxing and review of tarot card decks, and this is the very first one I've done. Very excited to do this with you guys, and I will be posting from my live stream to Facebook at this point, which I figured out how to do this morning. Yay me. So yeah, I wanted to do a review of the Chrysalis deck. Here it is. This is the box right here. And this is a deck that I purchased again from a friend of mine named Jamie Hill. She has a small shop right now that she's looking for a location, but right now it's a pop-up store. And she will be opening called Solstice in Chattanooga, which is wonderful because I feel like this is an energy that Chattanooga needs a lot of. It's a very positive metaphysical store where you'll be able to purchase books, crystals, sage, jewelry, all kinds of wonderful things. And I will attach her Facebook Solstice page to the video so that you guys can go check out her store and communicate with her. So that's where I got this deck. And again, it is a deck that I had been looking for quite a while. I've been interested in it. And I'm really excited to show this one to you guys. And first, one of the things I'll talk about, for people, and I do workshops for people who are wanting to learn the tarot, and there is a level of interest in finding the right. Oh, thank you. Well, you're very welcome, Jamie. I'm glad that I could help in any way because I'm very excited for this store. Like I said, I think Chattanooga needs this. This is a positive energy that I feel is going to be put out there in the universe to create some really wonderful stuff in Chattanooga. So when doing readings with people or teaching beginning tarot readings, one of the first things you do is you talk about the type of tarot deck that you would like to have. And certain people are looking for certain different things. There are better decks for beginners. There are better decks for people who are more advanced. And there are certain things that people are looking for. I will go ahead and start. This is the outside picture of the cards, which I feel like is very beautiful. These cards, I'd say they're probably about 3.5 by 2.5 inches. They're a standard size tarot deck card. They're very feminine and very pretty. I love the color on these. These are very light cards. They're probably about a medium stock. They're not too flimsy, but they're not going to be really hard to shuffle. They're very accessible, and I think, again, it's a very good feminine deck because one of the things you want to consider when you're purchasing a deck is the size of the card in regards to the relationship of your hand. Sometimes some women have smaller hands, sometimes men have smaller hands, but shuffling and moving the cards around is something that you want to be intuitive to you. And the feel of this is really nice. I would say this is a really good deck for people with smaller hands to larger hands. The color in this, it's very whimsical. It's very fairy tale-ish. First, I'm going to go into the major arcana. Let me find those. And how they're made out. I like the positive element of this deck. It's really, really beautiful. Oh, there they are. Let's go ahead and find these major arcana. What I like about this deck is it's a very multicultural deck. It has elements of Hinduism, paganism, voodoo, mythology, Greek, Roman. So it's a little bit of everything. And so it gives you kind of a knowledge that is really diverse and really opens you up to some learning in regards to the education of the narrative of the deck. I will show you, this is the book for the deck. It's a smaller book. It's 40, let's see, it is 58 pages. It gives you some layouts at the end on how to do, it does a pentagram layout. Now this is a layout that I don't normally do. I do, for the most part, a 3-card reading and a Celtic cross. So this is an interesting pentagram reading, which it has the pictures on how to do that. And 1 represents spirit, 2 earth, 3 water, 4 fire, and 5 air, which makes total sense. It is the dichotomy of the suits of the deck. And for those who are beginners, each suit represents a different element of earth and also a different sort of dynamic. One of the things, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up because I did make a couple of notes. Pardon my kitty cat. When you're using a tarot deck, most people are familiar with each suit having a common name. Like there's pentacles, which is career, finance, security, things like that. You have cups, which are emotional elements. And then you have swords, which have to do with thought and movement. And then wands, which have to do with passion and desire. So that's something, and we'll get into that because this deck has a little different spin on that. But right now, Major Arcana, we have the Fool, or as they call it, the Hero, as Merlin, which I kind of like. It's an interesting take on that. And they talk about him being the hero, which if you think about that card, it really isn't much of a stretch. It's a very positive spin on that element of the card. You have the Raven as the Magician. And as you can see, the art on this is incredible. Oh, and I should add, for props, this is a deck, the paintings are by Holly Sierra, and it is written by Toney or Toney Brooks. So that's who created this really beautiful deck. The pictures are exquisite. I really love the art on this deck. It's really incredible. This is the High Priestess, which they call the Sorceress. We have the Empress is Gaia. The Emperor is the Green Man. And as you notice, it's very earthy. It's a very earthy sort of deck I'm seeing. So if you're a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, you might find this deck a bit more appealing than most. So take in I made up a word, consideration, your zodiac sign. So that's when you should consider your zodiac sign. This is a very earthy deck, and I'm a Taurus, which may be why I was drawn to it. And then you have the Green Man. The Hierophant is the divine child. The Lovers. I love this deck. It's really beautiful. I'm looking forward to doing readings with it. We have the Chariot as, I'm going to say Herne. I'm not familiar with Herne the Hunter. I'll have to look him up. I would almost bet it sounds Scandinavian of some sort, Viking, something like that. We have that. The Storyteller is the Hermit. I love this. It is a very Native American sort of feel. Again, like I said, it's very multicultural. You have Egyptian stuff. You have the Native American. This is old school Appalachian. I mean, you have the wheel. Which I feel it pulls towards that Appalachian heritage. It may not be an intention, but it really to me does. I love this one. Strength is Papa Legba, and I do know that is a voodoo personification. We have the Celtic Owl, and that is the Hangman. Oh, that's beautiful. I love the art. And this is the Death card. I love that they have, oh, this is beautiful. They have fish. This is the Golden Flower. This is Temperance, which has to do with balance. And I love how, it's a reflection in regards to balance. And if you were to fold the card in half, which you shouldn't, it would be balanced. And so I love the thought that with this Bella Rosa as the Devil. Now this, and it's weird that this deck called to me because a card I very much identify with, and it took me 44 years to be able to completely understand this card, and I actually appreciate getting it in readings because I feel like if anybody's going to explain this card to somebody, it's me. And the Tower, which is a very personal card to me, is Kali. So imagine my thrill when I opened this deck and saw that. This is, in fact, I imagine I want to get this print and frame it because this is very personal to me. Um, the Tower is a very dynamic card that I feel is very misunderstood. As is Kali. A lot of people see the destruction of her and they don't see the grace in her. And I feel the same way about the Tower. And so, like I said, if you get the Tower with me, it's not necessarily, in my opinion, a negative thing. And a good reader will point that out. Um, if Elfie is the star, the moon is the moon, and I love the the beauty of the artist, the art on this. It's just, we have the sun and the phoenix as judgment, and then we have Psyche as the world. Um, Again, I feel like this is a very feminine deck. It's a very earthy deck. It's very feminine. I would recommend that in regards to if you are a woman looking for a very soft, feminine deck. Hello, Cookie. I promise I'm going to get to your reading. I promise. I've been really crazy busy, and I apologize, but I will get to that. Hopefully at some point today or tomorrow morning, or maybe late this evening. Um, so we have the major arcana. Now, this is where I wrote notes because I would not recommend this as a beginner's deck. I would recommend this after you get a beginner's deck because the suits are not traditional. Like this one has stones as pentacles. Now, this is the Ace of Stones, which represents the Ace of Pentacles. And so that transition, if you're learning, you would constantly have to kind of equal in your head. And it might be better to just go ahead and start with a deck that has a traditional suit, then move up. I do recommend, for the most part, the Universal Rider-Waite deck. The Rider-Waite, the original, can be a bit boxy and chunky. But the Universal Rider-Waite has a little bit more oomph and flow to it. But it is that traditional deck, and it gives you the just traditional artwork, the traditional impression and narrative of what a tarot deck is. So we have the stones, which represent pentacles. And there's a lot of nature, and I like that. Again, it appeals to the Taurus in me. Everything about Pentacles is represented by earth signs, and everything in here is very green and earthy. It's very it just appeals to my Taurus nature. It's very beautiful. And then when you get to, we'll get to those mirrors, which are very watery and very beautiful, also still appeal to my earthy nature, are cups, which have to do with emotion and love. I feel like these are they're very watery, and there's lots of, like the Two of Mirrors, which is a love card. You have the swans with the rings. It's very lovely artwork. And it's not all necessarily, because that's the three, and it's not all necessarily completely water immersed. The four, for those who love mermaids, will love that card. But there's a lot of blue, purple, aqua, beautiful water-oriented colors. Then we get to spirals, which represent wands, and wands are about passion, fire, and desire. This is definitely, I mean, Aries, hello, fire signs. And so you have like a goat or a ram. You'd think, a farm animal, Aries. So there we go. You got that. Very brown, very beige, with hints of, the thing that I'm liking about this, they're predominantly brown with one flash of color. So we've got the brown, the beiges with a green, another green, brown with the orange. Um, Here's another really beautiful. Um, we'll go through those. So we get to scrolls, which scrolls represent swords. And this has a lot of purple in it. All of them, the theme color seems to be purple. Really lovely, whimsical. So 4, 5. Oh, I love this. Lovely card. The 8, which would be the 8 of Swords. That's an interesting, if you know the Eight of Swords, it's a really interesting interpretation of that because the Eight of Swords is a card that has always kind of not had negative connotations, but it's one about being trapped. And this one doesn't give that portrayal. It's more, it looks more empathic. So I'm interested to reading the narrative a little bit more. Now, mind you, I haven't read the book entirely. I will go ahead and tell you that. I just wanted to unveil so that you get a look at them. That's one of the cool things about what I want to do is a lot of times people want to buy cards, but they're in the box and you can't really like look at them, touch them, feel how they're going to be. So there's that. Oh, that one's nice. The 9 of Scrolls. So, okay, we're going to get into our royalty. So this is our King of Pentacles, which is the King of Stones, and he is the minstrel, which I find interesting. The Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Stones, is the artiste. The Knight is the illusionist. I really like the narrative on this. I'm looking forward to getting to really play with these. And the Page is the acrobat. Now with our mirrors, which are cups, the King is the sojourner, which is beautiful. Oh, the Queen is the watcher. I love the crone sort of feel to her. The Knight is the dreamer. Again, these equal our cups. Oh, I love the Page is the healer. I know a lot of people who will appreciate that. Spirals, again, wands. The King is the companion. Oh, well, this makes sense. The Queen of Wands, which is kind of the entertainer. The Muse. The Knight is the connoisseur. The Mime is the Page of Wands. So then we're going to get to, oh, this makes sense. Oh my gosh, does this make sense? The King of Swords, which is the poet, which makes sense. When I think of swords, I think of academia, intelligence, things that are intelligently and critically expressed in regards to emotion. And so that's perfectly summed up by the poet. The Queen of Swords is the weaver. Oh, the Knight is the visionary. I love that one. And the Page is the pilgrim. So that's a look at this deck. Again, I feel like this is a beautiful deck. Who would I recommend this deck to? I would recommend this to someone who is just past beginning level. If you've already learned your cards through a universal weight deck, a Rider weight deck, then know that this is a good deck, a secondary deck, one to continue education on, because I feel like it's a very in sync with what you've already learned, but it's not a beginner's deck. It's just not. But it's not a complicated deck. I'm looking at it. It seems like it's going to be very intuitive to pick up. So who would I recommend this to? Women, very feminine deck. Also easy to handle. The cards aren't heavy. They're not too big. And then also intermediate use. Oh, hello, Michael. How are you? Um, the artist's name on this deck is Holly Sierra. That's the box. Again, I have seen where these are on Amazon. I kept trying to order them on Amazon, and every time I went to order them, there weren't any. Like I said, I've been looking for this deck for 5 years. They may be on Amazon now. It's very hit and miss random. You should be able maybe to find them online, but for some reason I feel like they were supposed to happen now because this is again Chrysalis, which has to do with change. And right now I'm going through a lot of change professionally, emotionally, and I'm having a growth phase on top of an awakening phase. So yeah, but that's a Chrysalis deck. It's a gorgeous deck. I do recommend it. I look forward to playing with it. And that being said, thank you for tuning in. Also, these live feed videos, I'm going to start transferring them over to YouTube, my YouTube channel, so they'll be easier to share. So understand that when I'm doing the Roseanne readings, if I'm doing a reading for you, it will be broadcast on the internet. So I want to make that clear when I go to do those readings and if you comment on those. For this part, I'm not going to take as much comments as much as I may acknowledge to people like, thank you, Jessica, for tuning in. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Michael, Cookie, Jamie, Evan, Afton, Ian. Hello, Ian. I hope the music is going great. You guys check out the High Beams. They are such an incredible band. I have a video of them on my YouTube page too. I see great things for them. I have since I met them. They're incredible, incredible musicians. So yeah. Shout out to the High Beams. So, but yeah, please check these out and check out my YouTube channel. Also, go to my webpage, which is up and running. It is kalimeister.com. And there's testimonials on there. You get an idea of what I do, and you can go ahead and reserve a reading if you guys like. I do hour-long readings, half hour, and then an internet sort of email reading that is an in-depth Celtic cross that I write out for you, and you can book one of those. If you do book a reading within the next week or two, I'll say 2 weeks, and you mention the color pink. When you contact me, I will give you a 25% discount off of your purchase. So, and also, please feel free to email me if there's anything you're wanting to see or any questions that you have or possible merchandise or a service that you would like. Please let me know. I'm trying to grow this. So there's that. Thank you guys for viewing and tuning in. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the web. Bye.